Yo, yo, yo. What it do? What it do? We back. Slightly late night stream 10:18. Not the latest in the world though. I just got up from a fat ass nap, took a shower, ate a few snackies, ate some dried mango and shit. Now we hopping on the stream. But the biggest headline of the day, Tom Aspinall. Let's pull it up. Yo, what's poppin', Jew? What's poppin', Jew? I'm not even gonna lie to you boys. This like big old interview streak over the last 2 weeks got me exhausted. Shit got me exhausted. So I'm a little bit tired today, but we're gonna get through this big news story. Tom Aspinall and Eddie Hearn signing with the Matchroom talent agency. Now, honestly, this is kind of like I guess we'll find out more tomorrow, so I'm not going to react too heavy to this because it could potentially make me look like an asshole because these guys are going to be doing a press conference tomorrow to really kind of elaborate on things, and I think at this press conference you're going to realize it's not as like, "Oh shit," that it's not as much like that than you might have originally thought. Because in a nutshell, I mean, Eddie Hearn, right? He just announced the launch of his new Matchroom talent agency. Him and his father, they own Matchroom Boxing. Okay. Now he created Matchroom Talent Agency, a separate entity from the promotion. Okay, so the Matchroom Boxing is a promotion. He's a promoter in that field. Matchroom Talent Agency, it's more so a management side of things. Entering the MMA management space. Honestly, I don't got that whole little rundown for you guys today like I normally do, so I think I might just get into it right now. Because there's not many stories to even really discuss right now. That's the problem, why there's not much of a rundown. But yeah, so I think I'm just gonna start getting into this now, and I'll discuss some of the other stories as we go on. But I mean, I guess I'll just say it now. Corey Sandhagen calling out Sean O'Malley for ducking him at UFC White House, and I saw something else crazy today, like Clarissa Shields thinks she could knock out Rolly Romero. So those are two things I'm gonna show you guys later on. But pertaining to this one, damn, I lost my thought because I went on a fucking tangent about something else. Oh, here's what I was going to say. The talent agency and the promoter side of things. Eddie Hearn cannot be, right, both a manager and a promoter in the field of boxing. That is called double dipping. All right. And I mean, yeah, it's called double dipping. That's what they do in the music industry essentially. A lot of times that's what they do to this day in the music industry, but they don't really do this in combat sports anymore. It did exist a time ago, but this doesn't exist anymore because that little method got exposed because you're basically, let's say you split it all evenly with the fighter. The management gets 30%, the promotion gets 30%, and the fighter gets the rest. Well, do the math. Do the math. It's called double dipping. The promoter getting, 30% on two different ends. Add that up, he's getting a whopping 60 to the fighter's 40. So why do I say that? Because Eddie Hearn, he's entering the management space, but it's very important to note that he's entering the management space in MMA, not in boxing, because in boxing he's a promoter and you can't be double dipping, right? So that'll be interesting to see. Obviously, that entails that he's going to be involved in Tom Aspinall's business dealings inside and outside of fighting, right? Inside and outside the UFC. I was listening to something Ariel said today because, Ariel is good at knowing information about this and he actually knows Eddie Hearn personally. Not that this information that I got from him pertains to him and his personal relationship with Eddie, but Ariel went ahead and said that, The UFC, it's still the wild, wild west. Go figure. We already know that. But the UFC is still the wild, wild west. And if they don't want to do business with Eddie, they don't have to do business with Eddie. They could tell him to get lost. Apparently, there's stories that go down to this day like this, where, a fighter with a certain manager will go ahead and say, we'll go ahead and show up to the UFC offices or whatever to meet with Dana White and the rest of the matchmakers or the, promoters, owners, etc., whatever you want to call it. And when said fighter pulls up for the meeting with his manager, the UFC, the big bosses, they go, "You wait outside, Mr. Manager. We'll take it from here." The fighter, he'll come in and speak with us. So, will they be doing that to Eddie Hearn? Potentially. Potentially, they will be doing that to Eddie Hearn. And I mean, why not? Because I can't believe I've gone this far without mentioning it, right? What's the significance of this for those who don't know? Dana White just stole Eddie Hearn's top fighter, Conor Benn, for $15 million, right, for a fight. Now, Dana hasn't confirmed that, but that's the going rumor right now. Dana signed Conor Benn to a one fight deal, essentially, for $15 million and forced him to leave Matchroom Boxing as a result. Matchroom Boxing, there was an opening in that contract with Conor Benn, right? They didn't think they had to force him to resign because of the relationship, because of what Eddie Hearn's done for Conor Benn. When Conor was, I don't know, he had some type of allegation, maybe a steroid allegation or something. I don't know what the allegation was. I think it was steroids, though. Eddie Hearn's the one who gave him money, kept his pocket full, all this kind of stuff. Eddie thought it was on a family business tip, right? That he don't gotta, business Conor Benn and treat him like a product. He's treating him like family. Yeah, he needs to re-sign the deal, but Conor Benn's family. I'm not gonna do Conor Benn like that, right? We got a gentleman's agreement. Not so fast. Dana White steals him right from underneath him, right? Due to the opening in the contract, $15 million. Eddie Hearn doesn't even match it. Now that's not confirmed by Dana, but that is the going rumor. And how long ago was that announced? Like 2 weeks ago or something like that. And now we got Tom Aspinall, Dana White's UFC heavyweight champion, out with an eye injury. Already been beefing low-key with Dana on the side. Okay. After that signing of Conor Benn, now Tom Aspinall comes out today, announces his signing with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Talent Agency. So, if we could call it shade, I think this is low-key shade from Tom Aspinall. How could it not be? Call it what you want to call it, but I'm going to call it shade. Tom Aspinall throwing shade Dana White's way by signing with his arch nemesis at the moment, Eddie Hearn. More like, Dana is Eddie Hearn's arch nemesis, but still, you feel me on that. Tom Aspinall, been out with an eye injury. He's not happy with how Dana's been speaking on him since the night of the eye injury took place, right? He's not been happy since the night of. Signs with his arch rival, Eddie Hearn. And that brings something else to perfect. You know what? That's why it's good that you guys do comment. Sometimes you guys need to start commenting more. You guys really do need to start commenting more. Shout out to Jim Lotus. Shout out to Gravy. Shout out to Jew. Shout out to Rashad. Shout out to Otto. Otto saying, "Yo, what up? Hope you're having a good one out there and everyone else too." My man Otto, I'm having a good one, homie. I'm having a good one. I'm actually feeling better now that I'm on stream, to be honest with you guys. Side note, what's poppin', Gravy? Good to see you, homie. And then I will be speaking on Jew's chat in a second. That's why I paused it. But a little side note is, hope everyone is enjoying some of the content dropping today. We had Pat Downey's official call out of Giorgio Paulus to compete in his $1,000 Take Me Down challenge. Okay, offering to up the stakes, $10K if he can't take down Giorgio. Now, I was of this impression of, you know what, Giorgio, let's cut him some slack. He's having fun with this challenge. Don't ruin it. Don't ruin the fun by trying to throw a fucking All-American US Open champ at the senior level, okay, his way. That was the idea I was of, right? That was the kind of like train of thinking I was on. I was saying, Giorgio Polis, and I mean, I don't mean to just be getting off topic right now, but let me just say it real quick. Okay. I was saying, Giorgio Polis, it's not fair to him, right? And maybe he should just admit that this challenge is for like high school wrestlers and people off the street. I'm not really trying to take opportunities or take challenges from NCAA champs, etc. I am no longer of that train of thinking after this man called out Ben Askren to fucking wrestle. He said I would wrestle Ben Askren any day of the week. Okay, the fact that he said he will wrestle Ben Askren any day of the week, you better fucking accept Pat Downey's challenge now. Now you have no excuse. Now you have no excuse. If you said you'll fucking run it with Ben Askren 6 months post double lung transplant, you disgust me, and you better run it with Ben Askren. And obviously you disgust me. Come on, he doesn't really disgust me, but that is pretty distasteful. That's pretty distasteful, Giorgio. And now you can't play this game of like, oh, this is just for people in the streets and high school wrestlers. Now you can't play this game because you just called out Ben Askren, homie. So you finna call out Ben Askren, well, then you better accept Pat Downey's challenge. That's just my opinion. That's the way I see it. If you didn't call out Ben Askren, I would have still been on his side. I would have still been saying, Giorgio, this challenge is just to have fun. It's to grow the sport of wrestling. It doesn't mean he has to be debunked by NCAA college wrestlers. We already know that's the case, right? Not anymore. Not anymore. He called out Ben Askren. How dare he? And we're going to look at that clip. And shout out to that guy who was interviewing him. He seems to be like the CEO of this Creators Inc. Homie was mouthing off to the camera too. Stay in your lane, homie. Stay in your lane, homie, because I might have to get that one back for Ben Askren. Okay, I might have to step up to the plate and get that one for Ben Askren. Anyone know if the CEO of Creators Inc. is trying to get a fade going? Because I got Ben Askren's back on that one. Homie want to talk spicy. Okay, you don't go that low. You do not go that low, because now you're going to get me coming after you and Pat Downey. All right, shit, run a tag team match. Me and Pat versus Giorgio and his fucking, Creators Inc. homeboy. So that's just a side note. I didn't mean to really go off on that, but let's get back to it. Let's get back to it. What's popping Tony Sal? What's popping him? What's popping Soda Pop? All right, let's get back into this story now, though, because Jew is saying something very interesting that I want to get into, and then we'll start to play some of the videos because, Dana White has responded to this. Tom Aspinall dropped a video on his YouTube channel today. There's been some promo being dropped, so we'll look at all of it. But before we do that, let's discuss what Jew's saying. Tom won't be in UFC much longer. And I see a lot of people saying that. I see a lot of people kind of saying, Dana's going to let his champion go. They're going to let Tom go. I don't know about that. I do not know about that. Okay, because Dana just got done doing an interview with Piers Morgan, and I'm pretty sure he goes, that's my heavyweight champion. That's my heavyweight champion. We're cool. In a sense, Dana's so cool with Tom at the moment, based off his response. I'm thinking, damn, if Tom sees this, Tom might even regret signing with Matchroom Talent Agency, because he's going to be like, damn, I just did a shady move signing with Eddie Hearn, right? In spite of Dana, because I'm not appreciative of what Dana is saying about me. I think he's hating on me, right? I think he mad at me on the low key for my eye injury. I don't think he believe in me. After he signs with Eddie Hearn, spiting him in quite possibly the worst way he could imagine. After he does that, Dana White comes out and he's like, listen, me and Tom, we're cool. I don't got nothing against him. We need to talk. We need to straighten things out. We good. How does Tom feel about that now? How the hell does Tom feel about that now? Because I'm just telling you, from my perspective, if I was Tom, I feel like I had the ability for a split second when I was listening to this stuff in real time. I feel like I had the ability in real time to like put myself in Tom's shoes, and I felt it. I felt like a sense of regret for jumping to conclusions about Dana on Tom's behalf. So we will be playing this clip, but it just goes to what Drew's saying, Tom won't be in the UFC much longer. Why not? Why not? I think a lot of people think that this entails that Tom's going to boxing. And like I said, it's important to distinguish the two differences. Tom going to boxing, okay, that could be a possibility, just like any fighter, right? Any fighter could be going to boxing. That's always going to be a possibility, just like an Ilia Topuria. But understand the difference here. This signing with Matchroom Talent Agency is in no way whatsoever an indication that Tom is moving over to boxing, in my opinion, at this moment in time. Because how could that be? Eddie Hearn cannot be a manager and a promoter. If he owns a talent agency, he's directly going to be profiting from the managerial side of Aspinall's contract negotiations, right? No matter how you want to slice it or dice it. You could have another person in there representing him. You could totally do that. Meaning, like, Eddie doesn't have to be the guy, but Eddie owns the company. Eddie's getting a cut of that share, right? You don't just get to be an agent for Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Talent Agency, negotiate deals, and keep 100% of it. You best believe you're giving Eddie Hearn a cut of your deal. But then Eddie Hearn's the promoter also for Matchroom. So that's why it's not exactly a shoe-in that Tom's going to boxing, because actually, you know, there's more things that need to be, there's more wrinkles that need to be ironed out in that case. You know, what promotion is he going to sign to? Because you can't sign a Matchroom promotion and then be represented by Matchroom Talent Agency. And that's why I think Matchroom Talent Agency is exclusively to MMA, and Tom Aspinall is their first signee. Drew also said, dude already has 2 fights on his deal left. He's going to start asking for much more money and stay salty about the eye thing. That he is going to do. That he is going to do. And this is what I think could happen. This is what I think could happen, honestly, is on the contrary to what Drew's kind of saying. He goes, Tom won't be in the UFC much longer. He might be stuck in the UFC, actually, homie. I could see a scenario where he could be stuck in the UFC. Because he's going to be on his high horse. He's going to be trying to get all the money. You know, Eddie Hearn's going to be, you know, trying to do business dealings. Dana hates Eddie Hearn right now. They hate each other. Okay, so what's the UFC going to do? They're going to stall this shit out. They're going to say, you don't want to play my game? Okay, enjoy the prime years of your career getting wasted even more. As if they already haven't been wasted ever since Tom, you know, and the whole John Jones debacle took place, where John Jones was, you know, injured, and then, you know, they held on to that fight with Stipe and all that stuff, and Tom's career was just going by the wayside for a long time. Then, you know, John beats Stipe, and Honey dicks around for another 4 months or so, parades around, right, celebratory style, and then just releases the belt. So again, this has been months and years of Aspinall's career being wasted in his prime. Then he finally gets his opportunity against Cyril Gahn, right, and gets eye poked. The fight doesn't finish, right? It's a no contest. Now he's out indefinitely until he can figure out his eye situation. He's had all these surgeries. And so just imagine, now we're going to get a third situation where he's getting iced on negotiations now. Right? Watch him be ready to come back, and he's going to be iced on negotiations. I would not be surprised at all, because I don't think they're going to be doing business with Eddie Hearn when he shows up to the UFC PI. I think they're going to tell Eddie Hearn to sit outside. And then if Tom Aspinall doesn't want to do business, the UFC is going to be like, well, we're trying to negotiate with Tom. Tom doesn't want to negotiate. You know, we're doing our best to negotiate with Tom. He don't want to. You know, we're at a standstill. We sent an offer his way. He didn't want to accept it. Now we're renegotiating again. And this is going to be a thing for a hot minute. So, like, I could see Tom even worse, bro, because him going over to boxing, that's like a dub for Tom. Low-key, that's a dub for Tom and L for the UFC, right? Losing their heavyweight champ again. First, Francis Ngannou, right? Then you lose the John Jones-Tom Aspinall fight because John Jones retires. Now you lose Tom Aspinall before even getting shit from him either. Crazy work. Built him up, right? Built him all the way up. Now he's over in boxing. Except, you know, what's interesting to me is I think Eddie Hearn is the person who's better at building up names right now, better at building up fighters and reputations. I think Tom Aspinall's name getting built up has been a Just simply a byproduct from his treatment in the UFC. You know, from the eye pokes, from the comments from Dana, from John Jones' situation, right? Aspinall's name has been growing from the fans, but it's not by design of Dana. Now, Connor Ben, to contrast it this way, right? Connor Ben just coming over from Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Boxing. Connor Ben, legit nobody, no offense to him, but he's never won a belt. He ain't no Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia was the other guy who hadn't won a belt previously. Now he has. But Connor Ben never won a belt. Decently big star, a lot of people talking about him, and that's because of the doings of Eddie Hearn directly. You know, the fights Eddie Hearn's been getting him, the promotion behind it, right? Flying him out to events, putting him on private jets, making him look rich. I've told you guys so many times that's what Dana should have been doing. Should have been doing with Tom Aspinall, that motherfucker, and all the rest of his UFC fighters. He should be doing the same fucking shit. Okay, your top fighters, you get them favorable matchups, you promote the shit out of them, you fly them out to events, you give them the preferential treatment, you put them up in private jets, you make them look rich, you give them bread just cuz, okay? The same way he made Conor McGregor look rich as fuck. That's what he should have been doing with Tom Aspinall. That's what Eddie Hearn did with Conor Ben, which made him popular. So what am I getting to? Well, you know, Eddie Hearn, I think he has a great chance at building Tom Aspinall's name even further now, because Tom Aspinall's name has been growing in spite, you know, in a way, of what the UFC has been doing to him. You know, despite that fact of the UFC, in a sense, kind of doing everything they can to keep Tom underneath, you know, below the man. Right? What good opportunity has Tom got? If anything, he's done favors for the UFC, in my opinion. He's done favors for the UFC. Right? When he stepped up for the interim title on short notice after John Jones pulled out, you know, that's doing favors for the UFC. Where's his thank you? He's still waiting on it. His thank you was, okay, we're still going to book John Jones versus Stipe. Sit tight, buddy. So I did want to say that, you know, I think Eddie Hearn and Dana, between the two, Eddie Hearn, for whatever it's worth, I don't know what it necessarily entails, but for whatever it's worth, Eddie Hearn, in my opinion, right now is better at growing his fighters' names. Watch Tom Aspinall look more rich now and see how that translates. Because honestly, Conor Ben ain't done shit, and the way Eddie Hearn grew Conor Ben's name, got Daddy Dana to sign him for $15 million. What the fuck? What the absolute fuck? Like, what? The helly? 15 milli, never won a belt in his life. He's been fighting this old ass dude his last two fights. Conor Ben and what? Who's the other guy? Don't even know his name. Because it don't even matter. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into some of the video footage now. Why not? Him says, what did Dana say about Tom? I'm a big fan of Tom. He was a beast. He didn't say anything negative. He just said, you know, that's his heavyweight champ. They need to have a discussion. Tom finished everyone in first round and scared John Jones into retirement. LO, he deserves some respect at least. MMA Rio saying, hey, buddy, what's poppin' MMA Rio? Him says, Tom Aspinall, a way bigger loss than Francis. Dana pays his own top fighters less than some random boxer no one even knew. Yep, exactly. And what prompted the $15 million signing? I think it's you know, the work Eddie Hearn did with him. Okay, so here's the announcement of the signing. All right, so here's a little, you know, picture of Tom and Eddie shaking hands. Welcome to the family, Tom Aspinall. Welcome to the team, UFC heavyweight champ. Time to get what's yours. Little promotional video. Nothing crazy at all, but here's some scenes of him and Eddie once again. And just a reminder, everybody run up the likes on the stream. please. Okay, if you have not liked the stream, hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We are live for the next 90 days. We're in the middle of it. I think we're a week down yesterday. We got our first week down yesterday. And yeah. So even today on my most exhausted day possibly in the last like month and a half, we still live tonight. But today was my most tired day of like the last month and a half. For sure. For sure, for sure. Okay, here's
One of
their
the biggest stars in global fight sports. So time to put some respect on that, time to build that brand, build that profile. Our role with you is to sit across the team to do that. We need to get him back. And by the way, we don't even have to get him back to the top. Because guess what? He is the top. You're the UFC World Heavyweight Champion. It don't get any bigger than that. Look at you and I...
Okay. Now, Tom Aspinall dropped a YouTube video today, and so did Piers Morgan with Dana White. So we'll take a look at both of them. And since we already have this one up, I'm just going to open up a new tab. I think Tom Aspinall's video is only 5 minutes, so it's kind of perfect. Also, I don't know if anybody pays attention to bodybuilding, but shit, Sam Solik about to compete in the Arnold. Homie coming with a crazy physique. And I think he might do pretty well. Just to keep it a buck, I think he might do pretty well. I think he's gonna surprise people. Shout out to Sam Solik. What are we looking at again? Oh, yeah, Tom Aspinall. Okay, so yeah, Tom dropped a little 5-minute video today. Tom Aspinall reacts to signing with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom. So let's watch it.
I look at you and I think...
By the way, one last thing I'll just mention is that Tom was previously unsigned.
I look at you and I think...
So Tom had no representation before his dad was managing him. Now Tom, you know, represented by Eddie Hearn's Matchroom talent. Damn, my bad. Sorry about being muted. No, I just said that this is like straight Office vibes. This is straight Office vibes, like a scene from The Office. The way that they're interviewing Eddie here, it just feels like a scene from The Office.
Bye.
And then Jew says, so is Pops fired? Maybe Pops is fired. I mean, I guess Pops has been relieved of his duties. You know, no more getting caught in the Ray-Ban metas for Pops. No more of that shit. He'd been relieved of his duties. You know, honestly, let your son grow into a man. Take a step back. You don't always got to be so hands-on as the dad. So, I would commend Andy Aspinall for taking a step back, you know. I think he was getting Tom in a little bit of hot water, to be honest.
You know, the potential that was out there in terms of where he's at and how he feels. I mean, you're talking about the UFC World Heavyweight Champion. You're talking about one of the biggest stars in British sport. You're talking about one of the biggest stars globally. I mean, you know, in a boxing sense, you are the baddest man on the planet, and that's what he is. And he's a good guy, you know, and you know, talking to Andy, which can last a long time sometimes, the passion that they have, the groundness that they have, the integrity they have. I just felt like I met a man that was just a little bit broken, if I'm honest with you.
Okay, so more to come. More to come tomorrow. As I'm pulling up Dana White and Piers Morgan, you know, response video, I will just say, and who knows what it means, right? It wouldn't necessarily mean a guarantee that it's on bad faith, but just saying, you know, Eddie Hearn, hopefully he not just signing Aspinall to spite Dana White. Hopefully he actually fucks with Tom Aspinall and plans on doing right by his career, because the last thing Tom Aspinall needs is to get honey dicked around even more. I think we can all agree on that. So, well, you know, everything that happened is what it is. My only thing that I really care about is I want to make sure, Eddie Hearn actually cares about Tom Aspinall and he's not just exploiting Tom Aspinall. Shout out to Nico Bellic saying breaking news: Ilya Topuria versus Anshul Jubilee is the main event of the White House. Shit, Anshul Jubilee still getting name dropped in the Big 26. Should be done with by the Big 27 for sure. And then I'll just answer him's chat real quick. He goes, thoughts on Gaethje versus Ilya? The quote unquote hardcore fans really want to see this instead of a real technical MMA match like Arman versus Ilya? Question mark. Well, I would say that the casual fan, nobody really wants to see it. Let's keep it a buck. No one wants to see it. Not the casuals or the hardcores. The only reason why this fight is happening is because the UFC's plans, right, got shat on. Gaethje spoiled all the plans. So nobody wants to see this fight. The reason why it's happening is because, we put Gaethje up in there in hopes that Paddy was going to beat him, because that's the fight that the casual fans wanted to see. Paddy versus Topuria, right? The hardcore fans wanted to see Arman versus Topuria. I'll give it to you there. But that's why Gaethje's in this spot, is because, they threw Gaethje in there over Arman in hopes that Paddy would beat Gaethje. It was a more favorable matchup than Paddy versus Arman, right? Because they were trying to ensure that Paddy versus Ilya fight for the casual fan base. And with that being said, Gaethje versus Ilya, I don't really care to see it. I mean, it's probably the last one. It's probably the last one I will watch. And it's just because it's Gaethje and he's a dog, but I do see Gaethje getting knocked out. For sure getting knocked out. And you did say Gaethje is 40 and washed. He never was good. Who cares what Arman did? I don't care what Arman did anymore. I'm not holding it against him. But shit, if he does it again, he will just absolutely disgust me. Arman's a very tricky one. Arman's a very tricky one. I don't care about him punching fans. I don't necessarily care about him headbutting people. Although I do see the issue in headbutting at the weigh-ins. My biggest thing, bro, pulling out of the fight that they sold tickets with his name on it. That's the one I don't like. Because he got his daddy's money and he's fine. A lot of fighters would have fought through that injury because they don't have the daddy's money. And honestly, for Arman, good for him that he got daddy's money, I guess, right? Because if he got daddy's money, that means he don't got to be dicked around by the UFC. He not going to be chewed up and spit out when his career's over with. He fought on his terms. So shit, I might have just contradicted myself big time. But I'm just keeping it a buck, On Arman's side, I don't see it being the worst thing in the world. But, I was pretty bitter at the point in time when he did pull out of that damn fight. I was pretty bitter. As time goes on with revisionist history, I'm not as bitter, but I was pretty damn bitter at that point in time. I'm going to keep it a buck about that. Yeah, Gaethje was never good as Wild. Who are these fans? I mean, I hope that you guys know by me saying a second ago that the only reason why I'm okay with this fight is because Gaethje's in it entails that I respect Gaethje. Gaethje was good. He's very good. We can't do him that dirty. We cannot do him that dirty. Just to read a couple of the last chats, and then we'll get into the Dana White response. But him says a lot of fighters pull out of fights. He had a back injury and he pulled out. That's pretty normal. It is what it is. I mean, I don't really want to get into this whole thing with Arman, but bro, he straight oh my God, you're going to have to make me do this again because I can't speak about the Arman thing without giving the full context of things. Arman had a back injury. Okay, he could have fought. All right, we all know this by now. Arman could have fought. His back injury was going to get in the way of his weight cut, him making weight. Now, this is where the hang-up happened for Arman, because he knew that if he didn't make weight, the title wasn't going to be on the line for him, right? And that's why he ultimately decided to pull out of the fight. Not because he was too injured to fight, but because he was too injured to make weight, okay? And the belt wouldn't have been on the line for him if he did step in that cage having not made weight. And that's why he did it. That's why he pulled out. And that's why it disgusts me so much. That is why it disgusts me so much. But shit, not everybody gets to, life not fair. Life not fair. And, you know, that's just the cards that Armand's been dealt. So, like, I guess, he got a lot of daddy's money. He got a lot of riches and wealth. And, that's just his story. So I'm not going to hate on him for it. Right. It's fine nowadays. It's fine nowadays. Okay. But I'm still always going to bring that up. I'm still always going to bring that up. Okay. It's low key kind of fine nowadays. But it's worth saying that Armand, too injured to make weight. He pulled out because he couldn't make weight and the belt wasn't going to be on the line. He didn't want to fight without the belt being on the line. Call it what you want to call it. I'm not here to fucking tell you what to call it today. All right. My bandwidth ain't there for that. Gamer says Aspinall fans have to be the dumbest in MMA fan base. They think Dana is going to cry that Tom got a new manager. I mean, Dana don't give a fuck, Gamer. Dana don't give a fuck. Him says getting UFC handouts doesn't earn my respect either. Fighting Patty for a belt, lol. Fair enough. I'm over the handout thing too now. The experiment failed with Gaethje and Patty, and now in hindsight, now that we're stuck with the Gaethje fight, now I'm like, okay, fine, you guys were right. So I'm admitting you guys were right. It should have been Patty versus Armand in there. I'm admitting you guys are right. So there you go. The fans, I'm admitting you guys are right about that one. And then Juice saying, I mean, yeah, if anything, you should have the mindset of going in there and winning, regardless of winning the belt, and then figure it out after the dust settles. They would have gave him a rematch. Yeah, that is a fair point. Usually if the UFC's made aware of these things you're battling and you still follow through with it, they will take care of you. It's a complicated one, it's a complicated one. I'm kind of saying, it's fine now, whatever. I'm kind of shooting him some bail. But you guys already know I was heated as fuck when he did that at the point in time. And if I was heated, imagine how pissed off the UFC would have been. So, yeah. I'm of the belief that Armand low-key, he should have fought. I'm of the belief he should have fought. But who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I'm just a guy. All right, I'm just a guy. But shit, should I do a poll? Let's do a poll. I don't really, I mean, it's not really pertaining to yeah, let's do it. Should Armand have fought Islam? Yes. No, he made the right. We're about to see how nuanced this topic is. All right, you're going to see in the votes probably. I'm kind of low-key on the mindset of saying yes, he should have fought Islam, but watch that poll. Let's see how that poll goes. Let's see how that poll goes. That should be an interesting one. Make Armand versus Patty. Patty will absolutely get humiliated one more time. Shit. Honestly, maybe we got to. Okay. Back to the topic for you boys. Okay, Dana White's response to Aspinall's signing with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom talent agency.
Dana White is well famous for turning UFC into a global juggernaut, making some very powerful friends and some powerful enemies along the way. He's now bringing his unique brand of strategic shock therapy to the world of boxing, where it's fair to say not everyone's enjoying the challenge. Last month, Conor Benn, a very familiar face to uncensored viewers, left Eddie Hearn's Matchroom to join Dana's Zuffa Boxing, a decision which left Eddie Hearn furious. Well, Dana White joins me now. Dana, welcome back to Uncensored.
Good to see you, buddy.
There's been a lot of pussy talk this week, Dana. You called Eddie. I can Dana.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna stop pressing the mute button. But no, I just said, let me just go back over that. What's poppin', AD kid? He says, "What's up, Jacob and crew? What's poppin', homie? Thanks for popping in the chat. Good to see you." All right, that's number one. Number two, I said, everybody run up the likes on the stream one more time. Okay. Pretty sure AD hit that like button on his way in, but if he didn't, friendly reminder to him and everybody else, like the motherfucking stream. We still not at 25. We want to hit 25 on the night. And then I said, Dana looking happy and jolly as hell off the heels of the announcement that Aspinall signed with Eddie Hearn's Matchroom talent agency. He looking jolly as hell. So I like that Dana's in good spirits. That's all I was saying. We got Dana in good spirits, and let's hear what he got to say. Super, happy-go-lucky in this interview for sure. Laughing a lot, good mood. Let's see what he got to say.
Therapy to the world of very familiar face to uncensored viewers, left Eddie Hearn's Matchroom to join Dana's Zuffa Boxing, a decision which left Eddie Hearn furious. Well, Dana White joins me now. Dana, welcome back to Uncensored.
Good to see you, buddy.
There's been a lot of pussy talk this week, Dana. You called Eddie Hearn a pussy. He's responded to the pussy claim by saying he kind of takes it as a compliment because you're talking about him. Explain why you think he's a massive pussy.
I'm talking about him. This guy hasn't shut up since the day I got into this sport. It's crazy. Eddie and I had a relationship, and I literally didn't see that coming. And to be honest with you, I wasn't going to mess with Eddie at all. I liked him, and it's been absolutely crazy. I'm talking about him. This guy hasn't shut up since the day I got into the sport. The reason I'm actually, listen, and Eddie said, "Oh, this is great. I look forward to competing with him. And there's a lot of things he doesn't know about boxing that he's going to learn the hard way." And Eddie, I've been in this business for 30 years. And the whole Conor Ben thing, apparently they're supposed to be really close, and Eddie's supposed to be hurt by this and all this stuff. Eddie Hearn and his father are incredibly wealthy and will be for the rest of their lives. Conor, who they care about, is going to make some good money for him and his family. He should be happy for him if they're that friendly and that close, or he should have matched the deal, which he could have done. He obviously has the money, and he could have matched or beat it.
See, that's at the nub of this, isn't it? Because you and His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh from Salah, who I know well, you've come storming into boxing. You've grabbed it by the horns. And in the UK in particular, Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, with their different companies, are used to kind of being quite dominant there. Eddie, I think his position would be, I've known him a long time, is that he nurtured Conor Ben, but it wasn't that hurt him. It's that when Conor Ben was going through his big drug scandal problem, which ultimately he came through, of course, but when he was going through it and everyone else was tossing him on the bonfire and throwing him to the wolves, Eddie stood by him, and he felt that when it came to him defecting to you, he didn't really even give him the courtesy of a phone call. As somebody who's had to manage your own roster of people, could you understand why, if you stand by somebody who goes through a really tough time, it's that's the betrayal, not just someone moving management?
Yeah, it happens. I wouldn't confuse business with the personal relationship either. When we signed Jayo Pataya, who's fighting this weekend for us, Eddie came out and said, "You know what? He never sold anything anyway. I couldn't sell anything with Jai." Oh, Jai's job is your job is to sell. So when you sign a guy, his job is to be a badass. Your job is to figure out how to make him and you as much money as you possibly can.
Are there any rules in the fight game from your perspective? I mean, is there any gentleman's code between you all? And is the kind of stuff we've seen between you and Eddie this week, is that all part of the theatre, if you're honest, Dana?
Yeah, if there's if there's a guy under contract, you don't mess with him. When contracts are up and somebody has the right to negotiate, all's fair.
Hold up. Did Dana just drop the N-word? Let's take that back for a second.
Somebody has the right to negotiate.
One more time. One more time. He said it with the soft. He didn't go hard R. He went with the A. All right. Does he have the N-word pass? Now Dana's saying it? Shit. Now Dana's saying it.
Negotiate. You don't mess with him. When contracts are up and somebody has the right to negotiate.
One more.
You don't mess with him. When contracts are up and somebody has the right to negotiate, all's fair.
His life just flashed before his eyes right there. He's like, oh shit. Oh shit.
The reports are that you offered Conor Benn $15 million for one fight. Can you confirm that?
I cannot.
Because it's not true, or because you don't want to talk about it?
Yeah. Eddie Hearn had him under contract, and Eddie Hearn, when his contract was up, Eddie Hearn has the right to match and has the right to negotiate for his fighter. He could have kept him if he wanted to.
In terms
all
of
these guys,
the way you guys,
hey, so you got all these guys that are talking smack. I didn't say anything. I sat back and we're getting into the game. I'm gonna, build it from the ground up. I'm gonna, I'm not going after like Usyk and all these type of guys. I'm gonna go after the up and coming stars. This is what I like, building things from the ground up, and that was what I said. I don't know if everybody took that as that's all I would do or whatever it was. So Oscar De La Hoya is suing his fighters to try to make them stay with him.
I mean, to be honest, that is what I thought Dana was going to do. I didn't see Dana signing big talent. I did not see that coming. I don't know if he lowered everybody's guard intentionally by saying that he's going to build it from the ground up, if that was an intentional way of lowering everybody's guard, or if that just happened, and then he kept all that stuff under wraps about his intentions to sign high profile fighters. I don't know. But to be honest with you, it seems like that was more of a ploy than anything. I'm going to say I'm building it from the ground up. I'm going to keep the cards close to my chest about signing high profile fighters, where I'm going to lower the guard of my competition. I'm finna fire on they ass when it's ready. When it comes time to strike, I'm a fire on they ass. I mean, shit. It seems like Dana read the 48 Laws of Power or something, because homie letting his genius show just a little bit. Just a little bit. He letting it leak out because he's so proud of himself. But that's honestly, I did believe that Dana was going to start ground up, and I didn't think he was going to sign high profile talent. Call me crazy, call me naive. I'm just being honest. I'm just being honest. And if this was all intentional, shit. Give it up. Give it up to Daddy Dana. All right, give it up to him. You got to give it up to the man if this was all intentional. Zuffa greedy as fuck. Dana White, real N-word. Shit, he might be the realist. He might be the realist. Shout out to weighing half Dana White. If you know, you know. If you know what a weighing half is, shit. Daddy Dana, the epitome. They got to up the UFC pay if they somehow start signing big names. I mean, yeah. Because actually, I think I'm actually acquiring all the reaction videos of the fighters to this 15 million. I'm acquiring all of them, and we're going to do a stream on it eventually when the time is right. But, we have Izzy speaking about it recently. Conor Benn signing to 15 mil. We got Max Holloway speaking about it, saying, fighters need to work together. We got Aljamain Sterling speaking about it. We had Jacoby Smith speak about it in our interview. I'd love to see more fighters come out and speak about this $15 million that Conor Benn's been signed to and how they feel about that. I would love to know. I'm putting together a little list of all the fighter reactions right now too, though. So when the time is right, we'll do a live stream on that. Let's continue. Oh, him's out of here saying, "See you later, bro. Peace out, homie. Thanks for popping in, him." And yes, the fights are getting announced on like Monday, I think, homie. So stay tuned for UFC White House. What's poppin', Cupcake in the chat? Good to see you, homie.
Oh, you know you're running a bad business when you're suing your people to stay with you. And listen, anybody who ever gets into business and says that they want to compete, I don't take anybody lightly, and I don't overlook anybody. And all of these guys apparently felt that way about me. They underestimated me, or I don't know. And here we are.
Well, for viewers who've not been following Pussygate this week, I just want to play what you said about Eddie first, and then what he said in his response. So let's take a look.
Okay.
Well, I think you saw this week, I am really beating up babies. Is there a bigger pussy than Eddie Hearn?
He was quite upset that Conor Benn left him.
Is there a bigger pussy than Eddie Hearn? This guy's supposed to be your friend. You're fucking crying. He made more money. He's going to make more money, and he had the right to match it. He could have matched it.
I think he said he tried and Conor Benn wouldn't return his calls.
What a crock of shit. Yeah. We're literally beating up babies.
Thanks, Dana.
Yeah.
I don't look at Dana White. There's nothing. It's not like, he comes out of the press. That surprised me, right? Eddie Hearn, have you ever known a bigger pussy? I'm like, fucking hell. I mean, firstly, this is so good for me. Like, you're sitting at your UFC press conference and you're talking about me, right? So, in terms of me building a profile and a brand in the US, this is golden. The more they talk about me, the better. But I don't go away from that going, I can't believe he called me a pussy.
So you're helping his career, he's saying, in America, Dana.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how his career is being helped in America. Yeah, I'll tell you what. You and I will obviously talk again in the future. When we talk a year from now, let's see how well his brand's looking in America.
I mean, are you guys, Frank Warren, obviously, full disclosure, another long-time friend of mine. I've known him a long time, Frank. He says he's considering legal action against you and your company, TKO, and against Seller, Turkey Al-Sheikh's company. What is your reaction to that potential legal action? And on a sort of wider scale, is your mission, if you're honest, to wipe these guys out? Do you want to completely dominate world boxing in a way that doesn't leave room for people like Frank Warren or Eddie Hearn to operate in the way that they used to?
Let me ask you a question. And I like the Warrens. You haven't heard me say anything about them. Always been nice guys. Anytime I've ever, dealt with them, they haven't come out and really said anything. Sue me for what? I mean, I'm in the business just like they're in the business. What have I done other than compete to be sued by the Warrens? We haven't messed with any of their fighters that are under contract or tried to steal anybody or do anything like that, and we won't to any of the promoters. I'm in here to compete. I mean, all the sanctioning organizations are going crazy. Eddie Hearn absolutely lost his mind. The Warrens haven't said anything, and but they're talking about legal action. I don't know what they have. Think they have with Turkey Al-Sheikh. That's their relationship, but I don't know what I have done to the Warrens that they think I should be sued, other than compete.
What do you feel, Dane? Yeah, I mean, on a big picture scale, some boxing purists, and it may be that they're slightly dinosaur in this thinking, but they look at the kind of fights that are coming along which are generating the really big money, whether it involves Jake Paul and Mike Tyson or Floyd Mayweather getting back in with Manny Pacquiao, whatever it may be. And they say, look, these aren't real fights. These are like entertainment bouts, purely for entertainment. And because they make such big money, there are going to be more and more of them, and that the purity of actual boxing gets diminished along the way. And the parallel they use is that you wouldn't do this in UFC, for example. UFC has got a purity about it, where when you put on a UFC night, you want the best of the best competing at the elite level. You wouldn't have a bunch of older guys in the mix. What do you say to that?
I agree with that. I would be one of those guys that agrees with that. But that type of stuff is always going to happen. If you find two guys that are famous and want to fight each other, there's always going to be an interest in that. But that's not what I do. What I do is I put the absolute best versus the best against each other every weekend. Literally every weekend I do it. So that's what I'm bringing back to boxing, is that these guys, almost everybody's undefeated in the sport, right? Because they're not fighting anybody. The best will fight the best. I mean, I've only done 3 shows, and I don't know off the top of my head, but a lot of undefeated kids have already fought each other in Zuffa boxing. And I am one of those boxing purists, so I would agree with that.
What do you think of the likes of Jake Paul, kind of influencers who are trying the fight game? I mean, he's got better, but do you think he's an asset to the sport or not?
Well, listen, Jake Paul's doing his thing. He's, guy's obviously made a lot of money, and people have been interested, and he plays the heel perfectly. Even if you hate what he's doing and you hate all the stuff about him, you hate him so bad that you're tuning in to see him get knocked out. So he's played the thing the right way. And I'll tell you this, he got hit. If you look at what AJ did to Francis Ngannou, right? And the Jake, it was a terrible fight. And he kept trying to tackle him. He did everything he could to avoid a fight. But once he got hit with that shot and he went down, broke his jaw, AJ didn't knock him out. And he definitely didn't knock him out the way he knocked Francis out. So
My bad for that. I said, yeah, because Francis Ngannou got up and went out on his shield like a warrior, unlike Jake Paul, which Jake Paul knows nothing about. Jake Paul don't know nothing about getting up off the ground, right, and going out on his shield like a fucking warrior. All right? Jake Paul don't know nothing about that. Jake Paul don't know nothing about that. Jake Paul getting praised by Dana White for getting up or for not getting knocked out. Fuck Jake Paul. All right. It sounded better when I said it the first time, but the fact that I was muted, I didn't get that takeoff good the second time. But all I'm saying is Francis Ngannou got knocked out worse because he actually tried to win the fight. He got dropped. He got up. He went out on his shield, something Jake Paul knows nothing about. He fucking went down one time, didn't get knocked out, and now Dana's praising him for it. Crazy work. Crazy work. I don't get why people don't understand this about Jake Paul. He deserves no praise for getting knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Not whatsoever.
So if I give Jake Paul any credit, I'll give him that, and that he's built himself a business and he's made a lot of money.
And will you watch Mayweather-Pacquiao, the rematch?
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things that depends on, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, I have to be home on Saturday.
Trump's 80th birthday.
Okay, so let's take a look at the White House stuff real quick. Dana White, let's hear his thoughts on it. And then he's going to move right into, praise for taking a better beating is crazy. And if you're going off what I'm saying, Jew, it's like praise for fucking quitting. Praise for quitting is crazy. Sodapaw says, you watching Patchy Mix tomorrow or nah, not interested? Honestly, on a Friday night, my expectations are my standards are a bit lower. Friday night is for, low level fights, regional scene fights. That's what Friday nights are for. So honestly, Patchy, I could be down to watch that tomorrow, just depending on what time it is. It's not going to be in like 2 hours, is it? That's usually what happens with these Ryzen events. They take place on like, if it's going to take place on a Friday, that means it's like at 1 a.m. here tonight. But no, I'd be down to watch Patchy Mix tomorrow. Hopefully it's on around 7 p.m. Pacific. That would be prime.
birthday as part of America's celebrations of the 250th year of that shameful moment when you gained independence from us. Which I have to say, we don't celebrate in quite the same way, Dana.
Every 4th of July, I text Michael Bisping some funny meme about leaving England. It's awesome. I love it. Yeah.
You know, you could have had King Piers the First if you played your cards right, but instead you went your own lonely furrow. But there's gonna be this big UFC event at the White House in front of 5,000 people on the White House South Lawn. It's completely unprecedented. It's going to be an amazing spectacle. A lot of speculation about who may be on that bill, particularly that John Jones, who I think last time I spoke to you said was the greatest of all the UFC fighters, that he might come out of retirement to take on Alex Pereira. Can you confirm that? Can you give me the scoop?
So I'm in the war room right now. All the fights, like I told you, March 7th all the way to June 20th are laid out. We've kept this card so private and secret. Lene, my head of PR, is sitting right across from me, and behind her is this big whiteboard that we moved in here. And the whole card is laid out right here on the whiteboard.
So you know who it is?
I'm looking at it right now. I'm staring at all 6 fights. We're scheduled to do 6 fights.
Are you looking at the name John Jones as you stare at that whiteboard?
We were going to do 6 fights. I might actually do 7.
Doesn't even answer it, so he can't say no. He doesn't answer it because he can't say no. So it looks like John Jones is on there. This happened to me one time. You guys are like, I told you guys I'm having somebody on for the fight companion for one of the number cards, which was Joaquin Buckley. And I told you guys I'm not going to tell you who it is until the day of, right? And then you guys are like, Joaquin Buckley. And then I'm like, shit, that'd be nice. That'd be nice. Because what I'm going to say no and lie to you, I can't lie to you, right? I can't lie to you, but I also can't tell you. And so Dana White right here, and he looked right at the name too. You already know he looked at the name. What it do, Juice Man? What it do, homeboy? Yeah, he looks over at the fucking board, clearly peeping over at the name. He says, he doesn't say no. And he starts saying, what we're going to do 6 or 7 fights. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, all right, Dana, we know what you up to. John Jones versus Perez on that bitch. Despite what he said about John earlier, John got his way. John definitely got his way. You know, only a few months ago, Dana said, fuck no. Fuck no, I could never trust John Jones to headline a UFC White House event off what he did, you know, after beating Stipe. Retiring and honey dicking Tom Aspinall. I could never let him headline UFC White House. I could never trust him. Fast forward 3 months after all the begging. John Jones did do all the begging now. Please, Daddy. Please, Daddy. Please, I really want it, Daddy Dana. Please. He got it. John Jones got his damn way, and John Jones always gets his way with Dana, which is crazy work. Jones got lucky here. Bro, Jones always gets lucky. Don't forget when the UFC moved a whole fucking event. Moved a whole fucking event for John Jones in that failed drug test. Convenience. Shout out to Jew. Yeah, convenience. And then Francisco Senna says, hey, let's go. I like this content. My man. Much appreciated. Make sure you subscribe, homie. We actually in the middle of a 90-day live streak. We live every day for the next 90. So shit, tap in, homie. We on a 90-day lock-in right now. We in a 90-day lock-in as we speak. Even on the worst day, we getting it. Even on the worst day, we getting it. Juice Man likes my interaction of John Jones begging. Who does Porgon even fight now? Shit, fuck him, Soda Pop. If it was up to me, homie would be serving a suspension right now. Homie would have been paid about $250K off poking Aspinall's eye. Fuck Cyril Gahn, bro. Fuck Cyril Gahn. I'm actually just glad to know Cyril Gahn ain't getting the title opportunity against a John Jones or Alex Pereira. You know, I'm actually happy about that. The last thing I'll say about John Jones versus Pereira is it sucks we get it now when John Jones retired because it's like, bro, you know, we want the history of Pereira moving up to fight for the 3rd belt. Will they make it for the undisputed and strip Tom? I don't think they have precedent to do that. Will they make it for the interim? I think there's definitely precedent to do that. We will see. We shall see. The interim does not have as much prestige as the undisputed. I think we can all agree on that. So, Pereira becoming a 3-division champion with the asterisk of it being an interim belt. I don't know. These are lots of questions we need answers to, boys. I'm just bringing it to the forefront, things to look out for. But one more time, everybody, on the count of 1 to 3. Fuck Cyril Gane. Fuck Cyril Gane, all right? So the says Gane versus Hawkett if Hawkett beats Blades. The Incredible Hawk. Shit, let's replace Hawk with Gane, for sure. For sure, I'm with it. Juice saying, but Pereira versus Jones, comma no belt. Shit, I just answered that one, homie. I just answered it. They're gonna make a USA belt, bruh. Another gimmick belt would be crazy, but why not? Like a one-off. Tom is injured anyway. Just strip him. You can't strip him yet, I don't think. I just don't think there's any precedent. He out on an injury. He got medical records, gamer. Just if we're speaking in reality. Josh Hawkett's manager, who answers questions for him, got slept in 10 seconds by Jacoby, by the way, and the guy followed me, so shout out to him. Shout out to him. Is that the white boy? Soda Pop? Is that white boy? There was like a white guy who kind of, like a younger white guy who kind of spoke for Hawkett at one of his post-fight press conferences. Okay, let's continue. Little side note with the chat though for a second. Okay, let's continue.
I might add one more, but
yeah, so 6 or 7. Dana's saying 6 or 7. Shit, 6 or 7. Is he trying to go viral right now? Dana's saying 6 or 7. Why it always 6 or 7?
Yeah, I'm excited. I'll announce.
Well, the word is
this week.
The word is your surprise edition may be Conor McGregor.
Interesting. It's funny. Every day when I wake up, somebody will send me leaked. This fight's happening. Like all these guys on the internet are putting like every fight that is possible to make out there that it's going to happen at the White House. I think if they keep throwing enough shit out there, something's going to stick, and eventually they have to be right. You know what I mean? There's only everybody in each weight class, the top 15. They keep putting together every fight that's possible, so eventually they're going to be right. But yeah,
are you going to answer that it'll be announced this week?
Yeah.
And have you had to clear the names with the president? Is he taking an active participation role in this?
Listen, the president's got more important shit to do right now than worry about the card. He's a big UFC fan, and obviously he trusts me and knows that I'm going to bring the best available card and the best production anybody's ever seen. The production on this fight is so incredible. It is going to be a one-of-one special event, and not just for the fighters and the fans, but for my staff that gets to work this event. It's going to be incredible.
Any chance of an 8th bout in the ring between you and Eddie Hearn?
No.
Yeah.
I'm too. How old's Eddie Hearn? How old's Eddie? In his 40s or something? He's still pretty young.
I mean, he's a big unit. He'd probably fancy himself.
Yeah, he's huge.
He did box
like
his. He did box his. He boxed his dad. Yeah, I mean, who do you think would win if you had a fight? He boxed his dad. Yeah. Well, let's just put it this way. We were talking about this earlier. First of all, we're both too old. That would have to be like a Jake Paul Netflix card, okay? Or we could both fight Jake Paul. We're in his age bracket of guys he likes to fight. Yeah. I don't know. Did Eddie Hearn boxed his dad? And who won? Can we watch that? Is that available? They actually got in the ring. When Eddie was in his teens, he got.
Can we watch that? Is that available? Dana, the ultimate degenerate. Can we watch that? Is that available? Dana gonna come around full circle and say, you know what? I beat that ass. And honestly, Dana is beating Eddie Hearn's ass. I don't give a fuck. I'm riding with Dana. I don't give a fuck about the logic. I'm riding with Dana. All right. I don't give a fuck about the logic. I'm riding with Dana. Don't care about the X's and O's. Eddie Hearn could be fucking 7'8" for all I care. I'd be rocking with Dana.
In the ring with his dad, and they went about 3 or 4 rounds, and I think Eddie won, and Barry walked away. But the age difference then was a little bit more than it is between you and Eddie now. I mean, Eddie has a 10-year advantage over you. He's got the youth, but you are Dana White. You are the biggest animal in world sport. You know, if it actually happened, who would win?
Listen, if Eddie wants to box, we can box. We can box if Eddie wants to box. I don't think Eddie wants to box.
Would you be confident?
Yeah, listen, I used to, back in the day, I used to box with all the guys, boxers and UFC guys. I have boxed.
So if Eddie Hearn's up for it, you're on for it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I might promote that. I want to talk to you just about somebody that I interviewed, Dana, a while ago, Tom Aspinall. He obviously he was your heavyweight champion. He's recovering from double eye surgery.
He is my heavyweight champion.
He is your heavyweight champion, right? Yeah. What is the situation with Tom? Because he had
all right, ears peeled for those of you with short attention spans. We back locked in on Tom Aspinall. Okay, Dana just got done saying he is my heavyweight champion. That is my heavyweight champion. Give a fuck what Eddie Hearn signed him to. That's my heavyweight champion.
Eye surgery. In my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you've not had any personal contact with him since then. What is the current state of play with Tom?
Yeah, the company has talked to him. I haven't talked to him, and Tom and I obviously need to talk. He came out recently, or his dad too, saying that they felt like I was, I don't know how they said it, but that I had sort of shit on him, and the way that I had spoke about his eye injury, which was absolutely positively not the case. Tom Aspinall is a guy that I respect. He's been great, to work with, the whole time he's been here in the UFC, and never once did I question his injury or speak negatively about it. I said something once that I said, I think he's okay. And I think he's going to be good. And they came out and said, no, that's not the case. And he said, I haven't even talked to Dana. I don't know why he would say that. But, obviously my medical team is talking to him. And that was what I had thought. And they thought that I had knocked him in some way, which I absolutely positively didn't and wouldn't.
It's worth saying because Dana's splitting hairs with these words that he's saying and stuff. So it's worth saying that, yeah, like Dana did misspeak about Tom and his return and whatnot, as he just mentioned. But the other thing Dana did do, which I think rubbed Tom the wrong way and maybe pressed him to sign with Eddie Hearn as the final straw, is, Tom, he said he had 2 eye surgeries coming up. And I see Gamer in the chat saying, LASIK eye surgery. My girl got that shit, so she don't got to wear glasses. No proof of it. I get it. And fuck, I don't got the proof. I don't got nothing for you. I don't got the proof for you either. Okay, I'm just reporting to you what's being said. And, Aspinall calls it eye surgery. Okay, Gamer's calling it LASIK eye surgery, which isn't really like an invasive surgery. You make up your own mind. But my point is that Dana, when he was at a post-fight press conference, he called them like procedures, like operations. And he's calling them a surgery, but it's a procedure, but it's an operation. Or no, sorry about that. He called it injections, Dana. So Dana actually Tom Aspinall making reports like I'm going to have a double eye surgery. Dana at the post-fight press conference days later, he goes, oh, he said surgeries. He means injections. So I don't know, now Dana acting all cool, acting all unbothered, probably because he's trying to save face in front of Eddie Hearn, who's just waiting, licking his lips, waiting on this Dana White reaction. So he's not going to give him what he wants. And Dana is doing a good job of playing it cool here. Like he don't got no issues with Tom Aspinall. So don't get it twisted, right? He's playing it like he doesn't have any issues with Tom Aspinall, but I don't know. Does he? Based off what I just told you about him saying the things about the injections, saying he's all good, he's going to be back soon. You tell me. I'm just bringing it up because I don't even think Dana's going to mention that thing about the injections because he knows that don't sound good on camera. That's why I got to tell you it. Actually, you could vote on the poll. Does Dana hate Tom? Yes. No. Tom, jump into conclusions. Vote it up in the poll right now. 80% of you who voted says Dana hates Tom. I'd love to see the vote kind of sway or everybody put your votes in now after I said what I said.
I like him very much and respect him. I've never had a problem with Tom Aspinall.
Do you think he'll fight again?
I do.
Is that from conversations his team have had with your team?
Went from being real open and honest to real concise and quiet. I do. Real open and honest to real concise and quiet.
Well, he's still dealing with whatever's going on with his eyes. And obviously over the last 30 years of being in this business, I've seen, injuries that I questioned whether guys would come back from, and they always have, including eye pokes. But who knows? But if you ask me, sitting right here, right now, do I think Tom Aspinall will compete again? I would say yes.
Just finally, Dana, what ambitions do you have left?
Okay, so I mean that's the Tom Aspinall thing. The last thing I guess I really got to say about this is and again, this is almost just going to help people formulate their opinions in the vote. And the chat is the streets. So whatever the poll says, that's what the streets is saying. So allow me to provide more context for you boys watching, for the streets right now. And I want to get a definitive answer on the poll. So everybody vote this poll up, because I am very curious. Me personally, I'm very curious about this. Now I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, you know what? Is it all a big misunderstanding? And I'm not saying I'm right about this. I'm just sharing a thought, that I could be fluid with. I could be like, I'm wrong, I'm right, but let me get the thought out. Is this a big misunderstanding? Tom Aspinall, he did everything the UFC asked of him, right? He steps up on short notice when Jon Jones gets injured. He goes ahead and he fights for the interim title, even though he hadn't really been training. He sits out for a hot minute, right, to let the Stipe versus Jon fight roll through. Doesn't diss the UFC, doesn't rock the boat, right? Keeps doing his thing. It's all good, right? So that's Tom Aspinall. In other words, just saying he's done, why would the UFC not like him? Why would the UFC not like him? And I don't think that's a warranted reason. Oh, he didn't continue the fight with the eye poke. Fuck Cyril Gahn. Fuck Cyril Gahn 10 times more than it's ever fucked Tom Aspinall. And I'm going to stand on that one for sure. Anything you want to say negative about Tom Aspinall, I better have heard you say it 10 times over about Cyril Gahn. So I won't even use that against him in the UFC's eyes. Like, oh, Tom, the UFC doesn't like Tom because he didn't continue in that fight. No, I won't use that excuse. Won't even give it validation. I think that Tom's done right by the UFC in every step of the way. Up until a certain point. Obviously, now they're annoyed. Now tensions are rising after the eye poke happened. Right, because of communications type thing. But Tom did everything right by the UFC, as I just listed out. Stepped up on short notice, sat out when he needed to, let certain fights play through, didn't rock the boat, all this stuff, right? Accepts the fight against Cyril Gahn too, right? Cyril Gahn, a guy he didn't want to fight. No honey dicking, he always about it, right? He signs the contract. The UFC probably loved Tom Aspinall. Okay. Dana White, right? He gave Tom Aspinall, he phoned Tom Aspinall, here's your opportunity, right? Interim title fight, Jon Jones out. We want you up in there. That's respect. As the fighter, getting the opportunity, that's respect. Okay, that's total respect from the promoter to the fighter. On top of that, giving Tom Aspinall main events, right? UFC London main events and shit like that. Like, I think that the UFC also did right by Tom Aspinall. I don't got more examples really, but that's what I'm just going to say. I think that the UFC also did right by Tom Aspinall. The UFC honored it. They wanted to book the Jon versus Aspinall fight until Jon retired. The only thing the UFC did wrong by Aspinall is make him wait. Right? Sat him out for a decent amount of time for that Jon Jones-Stipe fight, and then continued to make him sit out until Jon Jones gave his definitive answer on what he was going to do. But the UFC's done right by Tom on a lot of steps of the way, giving him opportunities for a title, giving him main events, right? Giving him rematches against Curtis Blades after the injury. They could have easily put him in the back of the line. But they believed in Tom. They wanted Tom to be in that spotlight. Gamer says he chose to wait. What do you mean he chose to wait? He's the interim champion. I don't think that the UFC was pushing him to defend his interim belt, homie. I don't think that the UFC was doing that. You know, he was the interim champion at the time. That adds it to be more complicated because now whoever he's going to fight, it's for an interim title. You know, with the reigning champion already there, it just makes it super confusing. You know, honestly, Tom's interim title, that's the other thing that the UFC did right by Tom. The second John Jones fought Stipe, okay, and I guess it ties into giving Tom the title opportunity in the first place, but just hear me out. The second John Jones and Stipe fight took place in the octagon, the second that bell rang, technically, bro, that interim title went to the wayside. Because now the champion, he's back and he's defending his belt. There is no more interim, right? The interim is supposed to fight the defending champion. The second that bell rang for John versus Stipe, they should have thrown that belt in the wayside. You know, and that would have made it easier because now Tom's not the interim champion. Now Tom can go ahead and fight anybody he wants and stay active. But it's a complicated matter because the UFC is trying to do right by Tom and keep him the interim. Even though, according to the quote unquote rules, you know, you're not really interim when the champion steps back in the octagon to defend his belt against, it just happens not to be you, you know? So now you get the shit end of the stick, but they didn't give him the shit end. They said, keep your belt, homie. Keep your belt. You're our champion too. You're our champion too. Keep your belt. So, you know, that's a lot of it. And Gamer says Tony was shit for tripping on a TV wire. So there you go. That's an example. You know, the UFC did right by Tom Aspinall, did they not? Tom Aspinall pissed at the UFC. Don't know whether or not the UFC's pissed at Aspinall. You guys, 86% of you say yes, even though I'm trying to mend the fences. You know, I was expecting for this vote to go down a little bit. Some of you guys to say no, Tom's jumping to conclusions. But a lot of you guys are saying yes, you know, the UFC don't fuck with Tom. Interesting. Even with my explanation. So fair enough. You guys are the streets. You guys are the, you know, you guys are the voice. You guys are the voice. And that's my final thoughts on the Tom Aspinall, you know, Daddy Dana situation. Let me turn off the AC real quick. What up, Perfecto? What's poppin', homie? And what's poppin', Tyler Betts? What's poppin', Impact? Good to see all you guys in here. Dropping in late. Dropping in late night. Gotta love it. Gotta love the boys dropping in here late night. Everybody, if you're just dropping in, make sure you run up the likes on the video. I mean, 25 is the goal, boys. 25 is the goal. We want 25 likes on the night, so thank you in advance. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Live every day for 90 days. Who run it like we do? Who run it like we do? I'll wait for that answer because there's nobody. It's only me. It's only me. Perfecto saying not much going on, player. Running late tonight. Shit, I'm just glad you made it, homie. I was running late too. I'm just glad I made it. I started the stream at like 10:20 or something like that, 10:20 p.m., which is somewhat kind of late for me these days. I've been trying to run it earlier. I see another great stream hitting. Shit, I think this stream's pretty good so far, Perfecto. Low key, I haven't gotten any complaints from the upstairs neighbor, so that's always a positive. Actually, didn't even think about her until just now. So she's not bitching as much as she used to be. Shout out to her. I don't know if it's because I moved or what, but anyway, let's get into something else real quick. You know, this ties into the UFC White House topic. And it's in regards to look at the headlines we got from the press conference, like wrapping the belt around them. No headlines from the press conference. It's okay. It's all right. Oh, my bad. I thought I was on champ rounds. I need to go to UC. Talibet says UC Garbrandt calling out O'Malley for RAF next month. I did see that. Probably not happening, especially if O'Malley is on White House card. Tells me Cody is going to wrestle a bit this Saturday, though. Well, speaking about O'Malley, that's what I was trying to pull up right now. Because, Dana's saying we might add a 7th card to the UFC White House. We're not sure yet. Corey Sandhagen calling out O'Malley for ducking him. So let's see it, Sandhagen calling out O'Malley for ducking him. Let's hear it.
What's up, guys? Pay attention because I'm about to break down why the UFC is going to miss out on one of the biggest fights that they could put on the White House card right now, and it's because O'Malley's being a little entitled.
Would you fight someone else?
I'm chilling.
How about a nice big cup of shut the fuck up?
Here's this fight that everybody wants you to, Corey Sandhagen.
At the end of the day, UFC makes the fights. I'm not, you know what I mean? So we'll see what they say. We don't do matchmaking until Tuesday.
You're a bitch.
If they say we're doing Marab, Peter, and we want you to fight Corey, are you interested?
I would say, can I
wait for Peter Marab?
That's not how it works.
The White House card, yeah, I mean, Corey goes up there, wins. I beat whoever's next.
Fight me. Frick.
Okay. Perfecto says, man, Giorgio kind of fell off. LOL. His true personality isn't hitting. Damn. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't know what the fuck is up with Giorgio because he tried to charge me $1,000 for a follow-up interview. I'm like, Giorgio, what the fuck? $1,000 for the follow-up interview? You didn't even make me that in the first one, homie. Juice says, I like this video from Corey here. Yeah, me too. Me too. Me too. I do like the video from Corey. That's why I showed it to you guys. But yeah, speaking about Giorgio tried to fucking offer me $1,000. Or no, he tried to tell me I have to pay him $1,000 for the follow-up interview after RAF. It's like, bro, $1,000. Perfecto goes, see? Bro, what the fuck? You charging me $1,000? I told him, I was like, bro, we could collab on YouTube and we'll split the revenue 50-50. We could collab on YouTube. I'll split the revenue with you 50-50, but I ain't paying you fucking $1,000. You insane. You out your mind. Literally out of your mind. Now, speaking about Giorgio, let's get into this real quick because, I know we looked over this the other day, so this is going to be a bit of revisionist with this Pat Downey call out, but, it happened on my platform. This is in an interview. This is in an interview with Pat, with me. That's what I'm trying to say. This is an interview with me and Pat, so that's why we're going over it again. Because Pat, he came on the platform, he made the call out of Giorgio, then he instantly made his own post on his own social media, and he spoiled the fucking clip. So that's why I showed you guys it early, and I'm showing you guys a second time now, but we got to go over it one more time. Pat Downey calling him out on my platform this time. Okay. Let's take a look. But, Tyler Bet says, Giorgio virtually grabbed Castro's trap. Definitely virtually grabbed my trap with that. He definitely did. And then he hit me back with the I'm cool when I told him we can collab and split the revenue 50-50. Perfecto goes, dude lost, haha, and asking for bread. Yeah, crazy work. Crazy work. And Perfecto, the crazy thing too is like, I would get it if he was charging $1,000 for somebody who got him no views, but let's not act like I didn't make him go viral. Let's not act like I didn't predict the Arman Sarukian fight happening. Let's not act like I'm not fucking interviewing Pat, having Pat call his ass out, and like I need to have him back on, right, so that he can respond to Pat. Like, I'm actually doing work here. You don't charge a guy like me, bro. You don't charge a guy like me who got motion. Okay, you charge people who don't got no motion. But clearly I got motion, and it would behoove Giorgio, $1,000 or not, to come on my platform and respond to the comments Pat Downey just made about him on my platform. Pat Downey did it. That's the thing about a lot of these guys, you know. Pat Downey did it. Giorgio came on my platform, low-key slandered Pat, right? And this ain't gonna be a Giorgio hate stream, but just understand what I'm saying here. Giorgio came on my platform, called Pat Downey a no name, said he's down to wrestle Pat in the 1K challenge, but not really. It's not worth it to him. Said Pat, didn't keep that same energy in person after all the call outs, right? Call Pat Downey right now. Let's press him. This is all stuff that Giorgio told me in our interview, right? Pat Downey doesn't have that same energy. He offered me a ride. He didn't say shit in the car, blah, 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 right? Well, guess what? Pat Downey heard all that and he said, okay, let me come on. He said, let me come on. Pat Downey, fires back. He starts posting the Giorgio Paulus files, starts posting the videos of him taken down, losing the 10K challenge or the 1K challenges, right? Saying he owes a police officer $1,000, saying he owes somebody else at the Zoo Culture Gym $1,000 who took him down, right? So now, Pat Downey playing the same game as Giorgio. He clapping back. Giorgio don't want to clap back now or what? Giorgio charging me a grand now, either because it got too spicy with his beef with Pat Downey, right? Either because it got too spicy with his beef with Pat Downey over the release of his files, or he thinks he's too big for his britches after that brawl with Arman Sarukian. It's one or the other. It's one or the other, in my opinion. Either it got too spicy with the Pat Downey response, or his ego got inflated to a crazy amount to where he thinks he could charge $1,000 for an interview. Because Arman Sarukian punched him in the face. Like, bro, come on. I'm the one who made that shit happen as well. I'm the one who asked you about it. I'm the one who got you to say, if he slaps you, you're going to punch him. So I don't know why you too big for your britches for me, bro. We on the same tip. We on the same content tip. It would be fun to make more content with Giorgio. Like I already said, I'm not one of these other guys where it's like you get nothing off of doing content with me. That's the person you charge $1,000. That's the person you charge $1,000. Somebody who it's like, I'm going to do content with him and I'm going to get nothing out of it. There's going to be no shorts made. He's not going to draw up any headlines. Let's charge him $1,000. But me? The fuck? Do you charge fucking Shannon Sharp $1,000 for going on his show? You don't, because Shannon Sharp knows how to get you the numbers. He asks you the real questions. Okay, and same here. Like I already said, on shorts, me and Giorgio did like 1 million views. Shit, shout out to Franklin once again, saying roulette. My boy Franklin, thank you very much for the $20 dono, homie. Greatly appreciated. Good luck on the roulette tables. Good luck at the casino. We rocking with you. Franklin. Good luck, homie. No matter what color you choose, no matter what number you choose, just know we rocking with you, homie. Good luck. Okay. With all that being said, let's listen to Pat Downey call out Giorgio. And then, I have something to say about this. I've said it earlier, but I'm going to say it again. Oh, and then let me read a few chats, though, real quick. Jesse Dunaway says, why, though? It's not like he's 1K for an interview type of famous. Someone's got in that dude's ear. I think I know who got in his ear, so just stay tuned because we're about to speak about it. I know who got in dude's ear. The dude who's fucking trying to incite a fight between him and Ben Askren. Perfectigo, bro, he's just aggro, and you're right. You put some serious clout up. I mean, yeah, bro. I mean, come on, let's be real here. He went on Ariel's show. He didn't charge Ariel. I bet you I got more views off the shorts than Ariel. Just use Ariel's lines, journalistic integrity. He don't pay nobody. Exactly, gamer. Tyler Betts, I couldn't agree more with you, homie. I couldn't agree more with you. I could not agree more with you. Tyler Betts says we should all comment on Giorgio's post to do the Perry interview. Let him know the streets want it or nah. Nah. No, not nah. Fuck yes. Fuck yes, Tyler Betts. All of you guys need to go in Giorgio's comments and start harassing him and telling him, you tried to charge Perry Punch $1,000 for the interview? Shit. We need that interview. We want that interview. You don't necessarily have to press him for that $1,000. You can if you really want to, but you need to tell him, do the Perry Punch interview. Do the Perry Punch interview. Did you see what Pat Downey said about you? Pat Downey offering you 10K if you can't take him down. What's your response? Do the Perry Punch interview. If the 45 people watching right now go spam that in Giorgio's comments, we got a good chance to get in that interview. I'm finna reach out again tomorrow and say, shit, the street's coming after you, homie. You want to come on the pod or not? Okay, because the streets ain't gonna let up on your bitch ass. Okay, he ain't no bitch ass, all right? But let me just talk my shit a little bit. These streets ain't gonna let up, homie. You better come on the platform. So without further ado, let's get into it right now. Pat Downey calls out Giorgio Paulus to compete in his 1K takedown challenge.
Why can't I do the challenge? And my whole thing is like, you stole the challenge from my boy, Dylan Palacio. Give credit where it's due. That's the original take me down for 1,000 guy. Yeah, George just kind of blew up more with it. But I got so many people tagging me in his videos, like, let Pat Downey try, let me try. And I finally am like, hey, I'll take you down, bro. So it's like, at this point, now that I've spoken on it to you publicly, if he doesn't accept the takedown challenge from me, he's just a bitch, right? Like,
well, I mean, he did say he's down to run it with you, but it was like one of those weird ones, like you're saying, because he goes like, I'd be down to run it with Pat, but then it doesn't make sense for me because he doesn't have a lot of followers and like nobody really knows him. But then
I'm a
it's
senior
like,
level world team member. I'm a U.S. Open champ. Everybody knows me in the wrestling community, and I'm bigger than him. So there would be no excuse for anybody. This would be a way for him to put unequivocally, no doubt in anybody's mind that he's legit and not getting taken down. And I'll one up it for him. He gives me 1,000 if I take him down. I'll give him 10 if I can't take him down. So 10-1 odds, George. 10-1 odds, George. Now he's really a bitch. Now he's really a bitch if you don't accept.
okay. I'm trying to find the clip of Ben Askren. Hold on. Bro, these cowards, they be deleting posts left and right. I don't respect it. I don't respect it. Hang on, I gotta find it. Because I don't want to hear anything about Giorgio saying, I don't want to wrestle Pat Downey. He's too good. The challenge isn't for, this person and that person. It's for weaklings, right? I don't want to hear it anymore because look what these guys did. And honestly, homie with the glasses, creator think pod, whoever the fuck you are, homie, Andy Backman, I'll run it with you on behalf of Ben Askren. You want to disrespect him like that again, homie? You want to disrespect him like that again, homie? I will run it with you on behalf of Ben Askren. And I will take that ass twice on Sunday. So, essentially this guy, this interviewer, he's about to open up a fucking door for Giorgio to just completely ruin his, reputation in the eyes of the fans. He's going to get Giorgio to basically call out Ben Askren to a fight. The craziest, stupidest, most clout chaser shit I could have ever imagined of. Anybody who ever wants to call me like a clout chaser for starting beefs and shit like that and calling people out, and talking my shit. I mean, yeah, I guess that is a little bit of clout chasing, but it's never been on the level of this. Okay, it's never, ever, ever been on the level of this. I would have never even prompted a question like this. I mean, for homie to go from like Ben Askren talking shit about him to like, fuck you, Ben, we'll fight you, is crazy work. And retarded, bro. Absolutely retarded. But why am I going to show you this clip before you watch it? Because Giorgio says he's down to fight Ben Askren or wrestle Ben Askren. And if you're down to wrestle Ben Askren, then don't ever duck a Pat Downey fade ever in your life. Don't ever duck a Pat Downey fade ever in your life. If you're going to call out fucking Ben Askren, you want to capitalize off of all of his hard work, the name he's built for himself after his lung surgery at 40-something years old. Nah, don't ever turn down Pat Downey a day in your life, homie. Not a day in your life. Now let's hear it.
We got to talk about Ben Askren. Fuck Ben
Not fuck you. Fuck you, by the way.
Askren. I'm sorry to say it. I have a lot of respect for Ben Askren, but he was just talking really negatively about you during the RAF broadcast, and I didn't expect that from him. First of all, he said you were on steroids, which you're not, and that's pretty slanderous. You know, shame on Ben Askren, and I think, like, I don't know where his health's at, so I'm not, like, calling him out, but, would you wrestle Ben Askren?
Fucking coward bitch. All right. The things he said at first, that other stuff he said was fine. You know, Ben Askren did accuse him of being on steroids. That's not nice to say. Okay, and he doesn't know that for a fact. He did say that Giorgio sucked at wrestling in college. That's not nice to say. Okay, and it's lacking context. And he did say that Giorgio wanted to get Armand disqualified because he didn't think he could win the match. That's not nice to say. That's an assumption. You don't know that for a fact. But to go to, would you wrestle Ben Askren? Homie, me and you, let's wrestle. Let's wrestle. Let's wrestle, homie. Me and you. Would you like to wrestle Ben Askren? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Honestly, what the fuck is wrong with you? Juice says he really taking the Jake Paul route by calling out Askren. I mean, he did do that. He did say he wanted to take the Jake Paul route in our interview. At least he living up to his word. But fuck this dude. Fuck this dude. I know someone I dislike when I see him.
If he wants to put on the shoes, I'll wrestle him any day of the week. I will say it was really upsetting to hear what he said about me. I was a huge fan. I prayed for him in his time of need. I support the guy. He's a wrestler, and, you know, wrestlers are supposed to stick together. It was really unprofessional, the things he said about me. I was shocked to hear this, honestly. You know, I don't know what's going through his head, or if he's just not mentally okay after everything he's went through. But the way he spoke about me was very disappointing. And I'll tell you what, he lost a fan of me.
Yeah, he seemed a little grumpy. We got to talk.
Yeah, you seemed a little grumpy. Bro, do yourself a favor next time and get yourself off this video. Okay, this shit's about Giorgio. You're trying to insert yourself in here. Okay, you gave yourself way too much camera time, homie. Even that last little snippet, he a little grumpy. This ain't about you and what you think about Ben Askren. Fuck off the camera. Like I said, you gave yourself a bit too much camera time, homie. Even this last 2 seconds at the end is 2 seconds too much for me. Too much camera time, homie. Asking if you would wrestle Ben Askren. Crazy motherfucker. Now, all right, everybody, you need to go spam Giorgio Paulus. You need to spam him. You need to spam
Armand's
Giorgio.
lucky that went down the way it was, because I was coming for his head after.
Do the latest post. Here's the latest post. How do I copy the link? Everybody tag Giorgio. Everybody tag Giorgio. Go click on this link and say, do the interview with Perry Punch. Why did you turn down the interview with Perry Punch? Do the interview with Perry Punch. Why did you turn down the interview with Perry Punch? Pat Downey just called you out on Perry Punch. Do the interview. Pat Downey just called you out on Perry Punch. Do the interview. Did you see Pat Downey call you out on Perry Punch? Did you see Pat Downey call you out on Perry Punch? Do the interview. Okay. If you got something to say about the $1,000 and fuck me having to pay the $1,000, say that too. But I don't know what to tell you. You know, figure out what you want to say about that. But go spam Giorgio and tell him you need to come on the Perry Punch podcast ASAP. You got to. You got to quit ducking it. Quit ducking it. And honestly, that's kind of the show for the day. I don't know. I'm undecided. I might hit the gym. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, okay. A couple little things to check off as we're going to get out of here. Guys, run it up to 25 likes, though. We're at 23 right now. Please run it up to 25 at the very least before the stream ends. But Chris Padilla. Now, I know you guys may not know who Chris Padilla is, but you should know who I'm talking about when I say Taco Padilla. Okay, Taco Padilla. Perfecto goes, dude, honestly, I don't even want a Giorgio interview after what he said about Ben, LOL. Honestly, Perfecto, he needs to be pressed by me about that too, though. Giorgio needs to be pressed by me about that Ben Askren little call out. You know, we need to let him know that shit ain't right. And we need to give him an opportunity to take back his words. Anyway, looks like Soda Pop was a big fan of this anyway. But Taco Padilla posting his DMs with Bobby Green, calling him out. Let's hear what they had to say to each other. Yo, Bobby, let's get this money ASAP. Cali Kings. Bobby goes, I'm down. I actually been looking for you. Perfect. Let's put the word in April. Bobby says, I'm down. Okay, see you soon, fam. Let's get this. LA coming for it all. Bobby says, I'm not from LA, so I don't know what you mean. Padilla says, I know I'm from LA. And then Bobby says, so what are you coming at me for? And then he goes, 100K and the crown of Cali. Yup. Bobby says, okay, I like how direct you are. How many fights you got? I got 23 pro, 4-0 in the UFC. Bobby says, not bad, but you have almost the same number as losses I have, big dog. And then Taco says, I respect you in all your losses and wins, but I don't mean nothing when we in there. Fresh fight. And then Bobby says, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I think you would be lacking in experience if I was going to be honest. Taco says, then get me out of there. Shit, that's what I like right there. That's what I fucking like. Put your money where your mouth is. You know, you think you could beat me? Then do it. Then fucking do it. You know what I'm saying? Do it. Do it. Is it that hard? Is it that hard to be fucking gutter like this? To be about it like this? You think you could beat me? Then do it. Then embarrass me. Do it. I'm waiting. I love it. This is the shit I love right here. This is the type of talk I like right here. And then Bobby goes, maybe you want to take your time. This is the deep waters, bro. Taco says, shit, I'm getting older. I need to get the bread. I got family to take care of. I mean, shit. Gotta respect it. And Taco only 30, by the way. He talking like he's like 33. Bobby says, okay, don't say I didn't warn you. Taco says, warning taken. I appreciate it, but we on business. We on business. We standing on business. And that's facts. For those that don't know, we do have a Taco Padilla interview. So we filmed the interview after his last fight. So anyone want to get to know Taco, go tap into that interview. 7th layer of hair. Shout out to Colby. Shout out to Colby. And then Perfecto says it would be hilarious if I pressed Giorgio for saying those comments to Ben Askren. It needs to be done. I'm also going to tell Giorgio that he wasn't taken down in the streets, that he's still undefeated in the streets. I'm also going to ask Giorgio about the files being released and if there's validity to it. So there's a lot of reasons why Giorgio needs to come on here, and it's not to pay him $1,000 fucking dollars, bro. He needs to clear his damn name. And that's why you guys need to spam him, because he's trying to get me to pay $1,000 to duck clearing his name. Are you guys going to let him duck? Go spam his comments. Okay, we got to ask him about his comments about Ben Askren. We got to talk to him about the takedown, whether it is 2 points in the streets or not. We got to talk to him about Pat Downey offering to wrestle him, offering him $10K if he can't take him down. We got to talk about one other thing I already mentioned, but I was just going over it again. Pat Downey releasing his files. There's a lot of stuff to go over. A lot of stuff to go over. Clarissa Shields thinks she could really knock out Rolly. I mean, this level of delusion is unheard of. I have never really come across this level of delusion before, but it exists. Apparently, this level of delusion exists. And, of course, she's filming this with none other than fucking Coy Leray's zesty-ass boyfriend.
Is there a male champion, regardless of weight,
Yep.
that you believe you can
I beat Rolly. He's a world champion. Rolly Ramirez. Listen, it's not about, I think Rolly is very unorthodox. He's very strong, right? But I'm way taller than him, way longer than him, and got better boxing skills.
So how about one of his punches, though?
Did you not hear what I said? It's hard for somebody smaller to hurt somebody that's bigger. I walk around at 185. He fights at 140. Or is it 47? It's one.
He said 140, 147.
But I'm just saying though, like when you and then like with his skill set, he can't be.
Is there a male?
Bro, are you kidding me right now? Rolly is beating the shit out of this girl. What is she talking about? The fuck is Clarissa even talking about, bro? Clarissa already ran this experiment and got knocked out by worse. She got knocked out by some no-name ass dude in the gym already. There's footage of it. Literal footage of her getting knocked out by some, some dude in the gym, some novice ass fighter in the gym already. Literally, there's footage of it. So, Clarissa, I don't know what you on, girl. I don't know what you on, girl. You on that good shit. You on that good shit for sure. Bruh, sick of her. Used to be a big fan too. It's like, why does she always talk? I mean, I guess she got baited into this, but it's like, dude, stop talking about what guys you can beat up. You can't beat up anybody. Dan Tyler Bet says she's scared of a diet and real competition. She does big up her size a lot. It's like, why not drop down? Why not cut? Like, you glorify you're such a big female fighter. Why not cut? Papoose ruined her. Yeah, shout out Papoose. What did 50 Cent say about Papoose? He said that he likes Papoose likes his women like studs kinda. Gamer says I like her, but that's delusional. Stewart, what's poppin', homie? He goes, she fighting diabetes. She got to win that fight first. Damn. Yeah. She's definitely the best female boxer. Yeah, but she hasn't fought anybody. I think that's Clarissa's issue. She fights in these bigger divisions who really doesn't have anybody. Let's see her cut down and fight these other girls. LOL 50 clowning all boxers. Shout out to 50. 50 beefing with Papoose and dissing Clarissa was the funniest shit probably that happened this year. That was some funny ass shit. I forget about all of it, but I was tapped into it. Not judging. He said he likes his woman like RuPaul, I think. Yeah, something like that. 50 said something about how Papoose likes his women kind of like manly. Not sure if she could win a Popeyes fight. The Harry Potter shit too. The Harry Potter book shit too with Floyd. That shit was funny as well. The video of Floyd trying to do an ad read was like, the most viral thing 50 ever posted about him. He like, this dude really can't read. The sodium from Popeyes always wins. It does. Shit, with all those fast food fucking fried chicken places. All right, boys. I would stick on for longer. But it's already 12:17. We pushed it for my neighbor and shit, so I'm gonna hop off. And we'll be back on tomorrow. Maybe to watch Floyd can read. What the fuck? You got to look up a video of Floyd reading out an ad. There's like, you could look it up on YouTube. Like Floyd Mayweather tries to read ad or like fails at reading an ad. He stutters over and over again. You almost won't believe your eyes. Well, yeah, we did about a 2-hour stream, so that's pretty good. We ran 2 hours on the stream. But just know, I want to stay on longer, but I'm like exhausted. I don't really got the energy. We've been doing too many interviews. You feel me? We did a lot of interviews over the last 2 weeks. Lots of content being put out. So I think today I had a day where like I crashed. I was grinding all day today, then I just fucking crashed for 2 hours. So I'll be back to regularly restored energy tomorrow. I just crashed a little bit today. But yeah, shout out to all you guys. Thank you for watching. I will see you tomorrow. Just like Unbroken said, check in tomorrow. Make sure all you guys check in tomorrow. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. Jim was in here, Unbroken. Jim was in here for a little bit. but he dipped rather quickly. But yeah, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Let me shout out the streets. All right. Shout out Unbroken. Peace out, homie. Thanks for watching. Shout out Stewart. Shout out Tyler Betts. Shout out Gamer. Shout out to Jew. Shout out to AD Kid. Shout out to Jesse Dunaway. Shout out to my man Perfecto. Shout out to Soda Pop. Shout out to Cushy. Shout out to Franklin for the $20 dono. Much appreciated once again, homie. And much love. Hopefully you won your roulette bets tonight. Shout out to Milo. Shout out to the Juice Man. Thanks for stopping in, homie. Shout out to Otto. He was in here for a little bit. He probably still in here. Shout out to Impact. I said Soda Pop, but I'll say it again. Shout out Soda Pop. Shout out AD Kid. Shout out Senna. Hopefully he's a new subscriber. Shout out to him, member Jew. Okay, shout out to all the members. Shout out to Cupcake. Shout out to Rashad. Shout out to Nico. Shout out to Tony Sal, member Tony Sal. Shout out to MMA Rio, member MMA. Oh no, MMA Rio not a member, but that's okay. Shout out to member Gravy Show. Shout out to Jim Lotus. And that's all. Shout out to all you boys in the streets. Thanks for watching. I will see you boys tomorrow. All right, peace out, everybody.